Brave New Art is a multimedia collective that connects with artists from different backgrounds, and today it is my pleasure to introduce you to Gunifort, an entrepreneur and artist, co-founder of MENDO, a company that is redefining our relationship with books and creating an inclusive space where we can all connect with others. My name is Luz Carrera, and this is a Brave New Art interview.
My background is in finance and computer sciences. I am totally not a traditional creative. Actually, everybody I ever spoke to say, yeah, you have a beta mind, as we say in the Netherlands, like analytical mind, but not for creativity. Luckily, 10 years ago, I walked into Mendo, and I always loved books, and asked them if I could have a weekend job there. And this has developed, and now I'm doing this full time and one of the owners. But the thing that has grown within me, or I learned in these last 3 years that I'm one of the owners of Mendo, is that I'm learning to trust more in my intuition. Learning to to identify that sometimes beautiful things happen in this world, and some people call it kismet, other people call it the secret, other people call it manifesting it to fruition. But this project of Elsa, or the project with Erwin Olaf, or the project with Avant Art, or our relationship with Virgil Abloh, this is all not something that we super thought up before, but yeah, stuff almost that just happened, and it has to do also a lot with us just believing that it's possible, right? So yeah, Mendo is a bookstore and independent publishing company. We have a physical store here in the city center of Amsterdam. We have an online platform called mendo.nl, on which you can purchase books, and we also make our own books. The vibe of the store, the new store, is like a living room. It's a combination between a classic library and a living room. So we have a lot of nice seating possibilities. We have food and beverage, so you can order everything from like a cup of coffee, tea, wine, or champagne. And yeah, it's formal but very free at the same time. Relatively young team, that's super into the world. Everybody's also active outside of their official job at Mendo. So yeah, it's also a company I feel with a lot of eager energy, and I'm not sure if you can find that in more traditional bookstores at the moment. We're very proud of, and something that you immediately sense whether you walk into the store or visit our website. We focus on what we call visual inspiration or visual books. So the normal novels, fiction books or autobiographies, we don't sell it, also because they're offered already by a lot of different parties, and a normal reading book can either also consume it digitally very well in terms of an ebook or audiobook. The biggest player, Amazon, is also in the business of selling normal books, and they do that very efficiently. The medium that we play with, it's also called coffee table books sometimes. So it's like books that are made with attention and care and with special materials. And we have a couple categories. Those were the categories for the store, and has also become the categories for the publishing companies. We offer books in photography, travel, gastronomy, fashion, graphic design, and basically, more lifestyle related stuff. Actually, at the beginning of last year, we had another bookstore, and idea was to open a second one. COVID happened, and then we said goodbye to our old bookstore, and we continue with the new bookstore. But yeah, as I said, we haven't even been open yet, and that is truly something that's so weird for us, because Mendo is very known for our retail. We have events in the store. You know, from the moment we open the door until we close it, people walk in, and that we haven't experienced yet. So that's quite interesting that now after this COVID thing, if we're able to open, maybe in March, maybe later, we'll be having a store for more than a year, and it's only then that we're going to start and experience what we have built. But as you also mentioned, last year we refocused on e-commerce and online, and that has been going very well. That it's even after COVID, or you know, if the store opens, online is I think is going to be remain such a big role in big element in our work. And lastly, COVID has showed us that there's so much possible. So a lot of things that we used to think weren't possible, we did in the last year. So now if we're discussing the future and our plans, yeah, not possible is not a word we're using. I would also like to add, last year, 2020, and the global pandemic, I think has also influenced a lot of people or bring more attention to books. So we saw that not only did online go up because people were at home, but we could also see that there was a lot of first-time purchases. So yeah, people having to spend a lot of time at home, maybe that is one of the reasons. But also we could see that people are purchasing a lot of books for inspiration. We could see that people are purchasing a lot of cookbooks and a lot of like DIY books, so to learn new skills. Our business, which if you talk to people a couple of years ago, they'll say, hey, why are you in the book business? Like it's not going to be here in a couple of years. But no, I'm now confident that books have a place in this society and be around for a long time. We're actually making a case here in the Netherlands against the government, because the only stores that can open are what's called essential stores. So like stores that sell food and drinks and this and that. And we're making the case that bookstores are also essential. The same as, for me, I feel bookstores and gyms, those two things, so for the body and for the mind, are essential. Avant-art new renaissance. I'm not sure if you're aware of, avant-art, but maybe for the people watching this and don't know avant-art. Avantarte.com or avant-art, ARTE, on Instagram is a art platform started by two very young guys from here in the Netherlands a couple years ago. And they started off as just that Instagram page, and they were showing contemporary art with the idea of, who are the Picassos of today, or the Van Goghs, or the Dalis of today. It's I don't know if you have the answers readily available, but it's quite hard. So with their Instagram page, they were showing, the cool contemporary art that's worthwhile. This became so big that they now have over 2 million Instagram followers, and business also behind it. So what they do is that they sell limited editions from the world's top artists. So for instance, it's a Sanford Biggers or Chai Kwe-gong or Daniel Arsham. Instead of, you can purchase an artwork for them if you're extremely rich and have that access and can pay 100,000 euros for an art piece. And what they do is they make deals with this artist, and then they make for instance, prints or smaller artworks, usually for in the low thousands or a couple hundred of euros, and they offer them on their Instagram website, like almost a flash sale, sell out always within a minute. And this become, it's one of the better known art platforms because they're also from the Netherlands and they're very young guys. We got in touch and but let's take this concept of you guys, the democratization of art. Let's even take it one step forward because an artwork of 3,000 euros, even though it's from an artist which paintings normally go for $1 million, 3,000 euros is still impossible to purchase for a lot of people. So now we put a book called New Renaissance, and with that book we're making the case that we're living in a new Renaissance. You had the Renaissance in the 15th century, and we're saying now we're in a new Renaissance. We found 11 artists, which we feel together, make this concept. Visit them, did studio visits, so the photography of their workspaces and process. With conversations with avant-art are added on each of these artists to explain why are they in the book, what is it that they're doing that's special. We had 3 amazing texts added to the book. The foreword is by Hans-Ulrich Obrist, and Hans-Ulrich Obrist is truly one of the most powerful people in the art world. We have a text written by Diane von Furstenberg. It's an American fashion designer lady, but she's a big supporter of young artists in America. And the 3rd text was written by Jefferson Heck, who also did Dazed and also a big name in the creative industry. And how we as Mendo do it is 999 copies for 100 euros. And at the moment, you can get them through Mendo before Avant-Art does the official launch, because then they'll be gone like that. A beautiful book that just came out called IXXX, or I Amsterdam, and it's by this photographer called Philip Vogelenzang. This is also a project that was made last year during COVID, and it's basically a photographic research or commentary into the sexual identity of Amsterdam. So Amsterdam in the 60s and 70s was very famous for the almost liberation that happened here on a lot of different facets. So as I'm looking across the street, I'm seeing a coffee shop which is open. So I think they're essential. But the Netherlands was one of the first countries to legalize marijuana, or was one of the first countries to have the red light district and to not only legalize, but really take prostitution and the people working there very serious. He tried to capture the sexual identity of Amsterdam, especially the elements that aren't usually seen. So he did studio shoots with, I'm not even sure how to call it, but these people wearing leather, or he did beautiful portraits of transgender people, men becoming female, female becoming men. A lot of actors from that world he was able to capture, but almost in like a Richard Avedon style of elegance. And also made a lot of still lives with it. So that's a project that I'm super proud of. It's artistically, it has so much. So definitely for the people watching this, check it out. It's called IXXX. Touch on 2 other projects that were that are in the works, or we just did. One book was called April Fool 2020. A book we published with Erwin Olaf, Erwin Olaf is the #1 photographer here in the Netherlands, a very big name. And yeah, also him, he was at home last year in lockdown and quarantine and social distancing. So he did a project called April Fool 2020, in which he did a lot of self-portraits and like these almost dystopian type of photography that that is commentary on COVID. So like he's one picture in a complete empty supermarket. It looks like it's been raided with only him making the self-portrait in that. Or he has a couple simple self-portraits, but with a very high pointy hat and his face, you know, made white like this. So him looking like a clown. And it's all commentary on how he felt throughout last year and all of us. We made this in an edition of 350 copies, and that sold out within 1 hour. One that is almost finalized. So I can't tell you too much about it, but it's Elsa Majimbo. I don't know if you know her, from Kenya in Africa. And in the pandemic, she started on Instagram to capture herself, and you know, just her making jokes about, you know, her life and quarantine. And this really blew up. So she gained millions and millions of followers. And for instance, she has now partnered up with Fenty to become one of the faces for Fenty. Or in Valentino, she just did a partnership with them. Elsa Majimbo. So we are doing a book together with her. I cannot tell you too much about the concept, etc. But it's Valentino, Mendo, and Elsa. And it also illustrates a lot what our work is. So the story of Elsa Majimbo is a story that not everybody is already aware of, but it is something huge on social media. And we as Mendo can identify that and reach out. And when we reach out, it's not like, oh, we want to make 1 million books with you and going to make you rich. For me, I reached out to her, and we started first with a conversation that I'm from Rwanda and had to flee my country because we had a war. And then I went to Kenya, Nairobi, and lived in Kibera, it's called. It's like the ghetto of Nairobi for 3 years before we fled to the Netherlands. And that's where she's from also. We did this book with Martin Garrix. And Martin Garrix has been like the #1 DJ in the world for ever since he was 16. And we made 5,000 copies. They were all signed by him. We offered them direct to consumer, only via Mendo. So no other bookstore in the world even got it, not Amazon, not Barnes and Nobles, none of that. And we were able to sell out. So these kind of joint ventures in which we work directly with the creative and also offer directly to the consumer, yeah, there we see a lot of potential for the future. Photographer traveling with him for almost 2 years, one of his best friends called Louis van Baar. So yeah, every week I would receive a new transfer with the photos of their week, and my head would be like, whoa, these people were in Myanmar and Monday and Tuesdays in Rio in front of 100,000 people, and then goes to Amsterdam for a meeting, and the same day as Ibiza, and non-stop, that I was like, oh, I got so much more respect for yeah, his life. And that's why we're trying to find a title for the book. And the only thing we could come up with, all of us, is Life is Crazy, because his life is crazy. Books, we try to always have a few so we can at least, you know, display them in the store. It's truly for us to be able to make people happy. So imagine when we were open, sometimes we get, because we're situated in a hotel called Hotel de l'Europe, we would get people from India or from the States or from Spain saying, oh, I'm a big fan of Martin Garrix. I'm here in Amsterdam on vacation. I know that you guys made the book. Do you still have a copy? And for those moments, we always keep like a few boxes on the side just to, you know, to be able to make people happy. To be completely honest, so as I mentioned, you know, growing up as a refugee, you know, refugee families are usually very ambitious. You know, the kids have to do very well in school, etc., which is logical because, yeah, the parents usually went to hell and back and spent so much money and this and that for them to get, you know, a family into safety. So sadly, or maybe it's good that it went that way. By the way, my life went when I was younger. There wasn't too much room to explore or to think, oh, I want to become an artist. Like that was so that was never even in my head. So the paths that are there for, you know, the refugees, become a doctor, lawyer, engineer. You know, that's what your parents want to see.
Yeah.
I chose for banking, but luckily when I came to Amsterdam, I you know, I formed such a nice group of friends who all have like a similar background, either as refugees or as migrants, and very creative guys. And they ended up starting up and building the brands like Daily Paper and Filling Pieces. It's like all like very cool streetwear brands that are very successful, and I was able to see that process from close. And yeah, I think that's the first time I started to get in my head like, oh, I could choose for an occupation in life that or build you know, a life in which I can be completely myself, in which I can wear what I want to wear and talk how I want to talk, and have a lot of agency in what I do. And yeah, I'm very happy I made that decision. I'm extremely happy that, you know, one of the luck that I have, and it's truly luck, is that I was able to onboard in a company that's been around for 20 years. It's not a startup. It's not, you know, something that still needs to prove itself. So yeah, I'm happy I was able to make that choice. But up until this day, I am working on and developing. You know, when you're an entrepreneur, it's everything has to come out of your own hands, right? You need to stay active. You need to be able to identify opportunities and to hone in on them. So those kind of things I'm still developing, and luckily I have two very experienced partners next to me. Who I learned a lot. Everything is closed down and it's hard to reach us, but please follow us on Instagram at mendobooks. You can stay in touch and up to date with everything that we do at Mendo, and our website, mendo.nl. I feel is one of the nicest places to stay in touch what's happening in the book world. We update it on a daily. You know, all the descriptions, all the pictures, everything that you see on the website, we make and write ourselves. To give you guys at home. Bookstore. We have some architecture and interior design books here. This category is gastronomy cookbooks. Then this is our store manager, Dan.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
In an interview for Brave. This is the founder of Mendo.
Nice to meet you.
Who are you?
I'm Luth. I'm interviewing Gunifort.
Oh, you're interviewing Gunifort.
Yes, for Brave New Art.
Does he give some nice answers?
Yeah, amazing answers.
That's good. Good to hear.
Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
By the way, if Brave New Art has the physical copies, they can also send it to us to display in the store. This was one of the books I was talking about in the interview, the Virgil Project.
Yeah. few copies you have in there.
Few copies pre-order now. Then here is the Martin Garrix book. And I hope you can see the signed by Martin Garrix. So that one is also still available, couple copies. This is the photography books. I wanted to show you. I told you that I have my friends from Daily Paper and Filling Pieces who do fashion who really inspired me. So at the moment, behind Mendo, they have their showroom. You know, it's a sale season in fashion. Okay. So as you can see here, Filling Pieces.
So you have,
you guys are now in an interview. In the interview.
You have the full showroom in there.
The showroom here. Hi. Sales director at the Filling Pieces.
Hi, nice to meet you.
And yeah, now they have some just some shoes and clothes.